Well, I think one of the things that we did that was somewhat innovative this year is we've been working very hard on a statewide enterprise content management system. And this year we added a mobile aspect to it, which is very interesting, particularly in a large rural state like Nebraska. We actually started a project that our Department of Agriculture was able to give their inspectors and their field people mobile devices for them to go out and actually enter their information into it and do some of their work on site without having to come back to a hotel and do all their work when they were done in the evening. So it's been a wildly successful project. We're going into more of their markets and doing more of the things that they do with other types of inspections. But it really has worked well. We set it up so that if they weren't in an area where they had access to wireless immediately, it would download when they did get to access for wireless. So we've cut their workload in half, given technology to a new group of people that really did not expect to get that kind of mobility. Well, I think like every state, we've got some priorities that are really big in the enterprise. We've got the priority of cybersecurity. As we always tell people, states hold so much personally identifiable information on our citizens. We really have a greater responsibility than anyone else to make sure that we are secure, we're keeping the data in an area where it's protected and where we really are moving that data in a way that we're not going to have a compromise or an issue. Another big initiative for us is going to be modernizing our network. I think one of the things that we really need to look at is where are we going with all of these various projects that are happening in the state, and how do we make sure that we have the network that's going to be supporting it? So that's one of the things we're going to be working on. And then identity management, again, in that cybersecurity area. We need to know who's coming into our networks, what they have access to, and why they should have access. Well, one of my biggest challenges is something you're hearing the CIOs talk about a lot, and then that's what I'm really trying to get information on, and that's workforce. In Nebraska, we have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country, and so when it comes to finding professional, talented IT staff at the salaries that state government pays, that becomes a challenge for us. So I'm looking for innovative ideas as to how do I get that workforce that's going to let me move Nebraska to the next step. Well, we're trying to do things that are somewhat interesting to them, and like mobile applications. We're trying to do things that we are looking at that says, we want to do state government differently. We need your ideas. We need you to come and work with us. And not for us, but with us. And I think that's a change in direction for a lot of states, because there always has been the perception you're going to work for the state and not with the state. So we're doing a lot of our college recruiting and those kinds of things. Some of it is very boring HR type things that we're trying to do. But I think if we can show them that really in state government, and something I don't think we tell people a lot, but in state government, you get to play with the big toys, the really big toys. And I think that's attractive to people once they understand what state government really gets the opportunity to do. Well, I think we're right there at the edge of evaluating those kinds of things. In Nebraska, water is very important, and we've for years done water measurements, but we're continuing to get deeper and deeper into how can we do that with technology. I think you're going to see that come out more and more in the states as we bring people on that really understand how we can move that technology a little more quickly. I think state governments are a little bit behind in the Internet of Things. I think we're again, we've got that protection aspect, and so that we look at what am I gathering and what's the protections that I've got. So I think we're being a little more cautious than a lot of companies do, but actually I think state governments have a lot of potential in this area.